able to, connect with the people that are around you and have more deep and meaningful, just connections with other people. And so being conscious is just being aware of all of our shortcomings as well. We're not perfect and we're constantly growing, and we have that opportunity, but we don't dwell on the fact that we have some of these, growth opportunities for ourselves.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So what were some of the, when you realized, okay, like my type A, which we still are, but my not stopping to take care of myself, or the voices and that I'm hearing, like, what was it that you feel was stopping you? I mean, on one end, obviously there was the drive to succeed, to prove yourself, to get approval from mom, to show like I can do anything. But I guess, for you, like, you talk about in your book, you talk about, voices coming into your head and keeping you from achieving what you need to achieve. It's where was that balance, because I guess you were achieving all this stuff. So what was going on internally?
Yeah. So on the outside, I was what you would call Instagram happy, and I'm blessed that we didn't have Instagram back then, by anyone else. But what was going on inside was just, there was a absolute party of 12 going on in my brain constantly, like asking myself, like, how's this? How's that? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And it was just thinking. And so when I really started to try to become more present, I had to stop and I had to disconnect from the thoughts that were going on and learn how to really quiet the ones that didn't align with my vision and my goals, and learn how to, I thank my ego, when I'm coaching somebody or I'm trying to make a big impact, I really try to help them document the thoughts that might be coming from your big voice or your highest or most authentic self, from that little voice, which is, the disempowering thoughts. And it's not to be confused with who our inner child is, because there's many people that may need to heal, and that's different. These thoughts that I'm talking about right now are just the ones that are like, they're judging other people, or they're hard or critical on yourself, or they're just trying to stop you. We wake up with the intention, I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to go to the gym at 6 and I'm going to eat healthy. And then a call goes wrong at 4 and somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm headed over to grab, a margarita. Do you want to come? And the voice that says, yes, you deserve it because you've had a hard day, is the one that we have to learn how to quiet, because those days add up. Because next thing you've had a basket of chips, a pitcher of margaritas, and now you don't feel good the next day. And then it just all adds up, and it compounds into years, and for many people, decades of not taking the action that's required to, really reach their potential. And so we've got to learn how not to listen to the excuse making voice, not to listen to the voice that really is, saying things to ourselves that, is not making us feel like the masterpiece that we are. So we have to use strategy with our thinking. So first thing, we have to accept we're not our thoughts. That's the basis of the consciousness movement, is just know you are not your thoughts. Because if you were, I would think you were absolutely crazy, because so many of them were like, where did that just come from? Like, if we could only hear what everybody else was thinking, we're like, what? And so we do have to disconnect a little bit, and then use strategies just to kind of keep them in the background. I can't coach you on making the overthinking stop. There are tools that you can use, like meditation and other things, that can minimize them, but there's probably never going to be a point. I'm probably going to be 85, worried about having buns of steel. Like, it's just one of those things that I may still be there, but I'm not, it's just not going to steal my joy, and it's not going to stop me from taking action. Hopefully I'll still be walking around the block then, but for a lot of people, they don't feel good about themselves, and then they don't eat right, they don't exercise, and they don't get to the gym. And it's like, why would we allow those thoughts to sabotage ourselves? So that's really where,
so I was just going to ask about
thoughts.
that.
Yeah.
With the self-sabotage. So, when you say, like, people, what are some of the tips keys that you give people in terms of transitioning? Like, one, identifying that they're self-sabotaging themselves, and then how do you move away from it, right? We've been programmed for so many years, like since we were younger, to act or think a certain way, to react to things. We have those triggers within us, right, from our past experiences. So these little voices are there. So one, there's realizing, oh shit, I'm self-sabotaging myself. How does that happen? How do you like really identify that? And then, okay, now what do I do to like change it? What would you tell somebody?
Yeah. So like you said, it starts with, you used a word that just so describes what we're talking about, is programmed. Like when we really think about the fact that we've been programmed, we have to see that a lot of that programming is not serving us. So having the awareness to see it when it strikes is important. So you have to take some time. You know, I've got on the website, which I'm going to share with you later at Big Voices Rise, a sabotage management sheet that you can go through, and you want to document your preferred methods of sabotage and how they show up. And it's just like trying to rewrite a program. That's all you're doing, is you're just stepping into it. And so for myself, one of my preferred methods of self-sabotage was perfectionism, which meant I was seeking to be perfect in the eyes of other people instead of feeling that way internally. And so I still work against perfectionism on a daily basis. It's been 15 years since I really uncovered this. And so I just put a lot of intention around it. And so things like posting videos without watching them, because I know that what I'm saying is impactful, instead of like really worrying about it, or not replaying, you know, a speech that I gave on Sunday where I forgot to give them my website. It was like little things like that. You know, we strive for what most of us need to refer to as excellence rather than perfectionism, because we just have to always know that we're getting better. And so, you know, preferred methods of self-sabotage can be perfectionism, it can be excuse making, it can be procrastination, failure to manage time. All of these things, they are on the opposite of what your goals are. So when I do goal planning and vision planning in a group, we also focus on, okay, now that we've talked about what you want to create and what you choose for yourself, let's talk about the human programming that shows up on a regular basis that stops you. Because I need to worry about, not in December, what you really want. I need to worry about the person that's going to show up on February 15th and start feeling like they don't want to continue to exercise, continue to make their calls and their sales, whatever it is. You know, we've got to anticipate that instead of being surprised by it. And something as simple as laziness, you know, I was working with somebody yesterday that was like, I am probably watching 5 hours of television a day, and I don't even know where I get lost in it. And that, you know, I describe laziness as doing anything other than what you should be doing to achieve your goals. And so we've got to just start to document some of our preferred methods and then share it. Like every single person on this call knows now that I am a recovering perfectionist. And so I tell everyone, like, it's like, I think it's awesome that I make mistakes. I think it's awesome that I'm no longer worried about what other people's perception of me is in order to hold my joy on a daily basis.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So when you know, like, why do you feel, well, I mean, I guess it would go along with what you were talking about, but I know like so many people are afraid to even ask for help, you know, because like, they don't want to look bad, right? It goes anti this perfection. If I have a question or I'm struggling, like that means I'm not perfect. You know, what have you found has been helpful to maybe make them feel more comfortable or confident, you know, and like any other reasons you feel people are afraid to, you know, like to ask for help when they're struggling?
Yeah, well, I think what we believe is that if I'm successful, then I shouldn't need help. It might weaken me in the eyes of the people that have respected me or looked up to me or other things. And what I've found is asking for help is really what opens up the flow of opportunity in your life. You know, Brene Brown's Power of Vulnerability talk on TED is one of the most watched TED Talks. And I think the reason is that most people didn't even really understand what vulnerability meant before that moment. And so we've got to see vulnerability is the new power. And as women especially, and men listening as well, like part of our feminine power is connecting with other people and helping lift them up. And in return, they will help lift us up. And so one of my goals on a daily basis is to really be able to articulate what help I need. So I write it down. I write down exactly what type of help I need, and I look at it. I mean, and so it's one of those things, like I keep it right here so that I remind myself every day. I'm like, okay, I need help booking 2 keynotes a month. Like as I'm ending emails, as I'm ending conversations, that kind of thing. I'm constantly asking people for help, and I'm not afraid to. The reason why I'm not is because I put a massive amount of intention into helping other people. So one of the closing comments that I have for any phone call or meeting is there anything that I could potentially do to help you professionally or personally? And I give them a moment to think about it. And my goal is to make 3 selfless connections a day. And it's a lot. So it's 3 selfless connections so that I know that my girlfriend that is, she's a business consultant, and I'm going to tie her up with this entrepreneur hub or whatever it is, because they might be able to help one another. And so I'm constantly in that state of helping other people. So I've got to also be in the place of receiving help at the same time. And, my lessons that I've gotten, Kathy, I mean, incredible. Like for me, I'm faith-based. I know God was like, listen, this is really hard for you. My mansion burnt down in 2007 before my eyes with 120 of my friends at a Christmas party with me. Now, I knew insurance was covering things, but everyone wanted to help, and I had to receive it during that season. Christmas presents for my kids, people, bringing me clothes and things that I knew that I was going to end up getting, but it was part of their need, part of their healing to be able to help me. And it it honestly shifted my ability to receive. And it was such a gift for me. Not only did it help me kind of just axonate the attachment to materialistic things in a nanosecond, but it also allowed me to receive help. And so many of us just aren't in that place where we do it freely.
Yeah, well, really beautifully said, and I think about, when people, I always struggled with this. People would want to give stuff, and I'm like, no, it's okay. And someone had mentioned, because I love giving, right? And I love serving, and I'm like, and I'm a gift giver. Like that's my love language. And I do stuff. And they said, how about if people were like, I don't want your gifts. How would you feel? And I was like, that would be really mean. Like, I'm really just trying to show love and serve them. And they're like, well, that's what you're doing when you deprive somebody of being able to help you, because they're trying to show love and they're trying to give. And so when you block that, you're blocking that joy from them, as you want to, you want to feel like you don't need anything and you're just fine. And whatever it might be that's keeping you from receiving, whether it's feeling like if I receive it, does that mean I'm not enough? Or like, oh, they don't need to give me, I have the, whatever it might be. But I remember someone saying that to me. They said, Kathy, somebody just like blocked your gifts, or said, no, like, how would you feel? Yeah. And even if someone's like, can I help you out with something? That might be the way that they show, love, and they feel more connected, and you're really robbing that ability from them, So I think that's so great that you were sharing that. So for those, just tuning in or jumping on late, I mean, Kelly, she's a mom, she's a business executive, she's a best-selling author, influencer, does a ton with nonprofit work. I've been told amazing things of communities that she serves through like One Life and other individuals, helping them build passive income, and just so many incredible things. And if we'll put her link on here so you guys have it in terms of, so you can connect with her, check out her book, see what she's up to, just amazing things, really focused on helping women step into what their big voice is, and helping with strategy of how do you control, thought management, how do you control, with meditation and really connect with yourself to be able to serve at that high level and still be type A as she is, but also like be aware and have that, consciousness so that you can live out your best life. As she mentioned earlier, like all the little voices that stop us from doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves, because there's another voice that's telling us like, oh, nothing else matters. You got to do this, or you got to achieve, or you got to accomplish in order to be enough. And many of us get engulfed in that and then end up depressed and anxious and stressed and sick.
Yeah.
That's definitely the opposite of what we want. And Kelly, if you have any other, tips, keys, or thoughts, and my final question, which I like to ask everyone on our guest, if someone asked you, what does it mean to live elevated? What is that? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, really, to live elevated just means that we accept ourselves as the masterpiece we are today. Like, that's first and foremost. Like, for every single person that's listening, I really believe in my heart that we can feel as extraordinary about life as it may look on the outside. There's a lot of people that might be listening that are like, I should be grateful because I have a
Mhm.
home and I have children and I have a job. But for whatever reason, it's not feeling that way. They're not experiencing it. And I would tell you that if there's something missing, then it's not going to go away. Like, we have the ability to seek more ands in our life where we can, really do business and be creative and do these other things. I mean, Kathy, you're living proof of that as well, that we can create whatever life that we see possible. But through that, we have to ask for help. And so you've got to accept yourself as a masterpiece, but you also have to know that part of life is growing. And so when you stand still, when you choose not to take action in order to create more for your life, and more may be more travel, more peace, more success, like everyone gets to define it for themselves. We know how society defines it, and I completely go against that 100% because I'm all about, having the internal match the
Right.
external so that you really feel. And that's really what I see as elevated, is that you see yourself as a masterpiece, but you're always pushing yourself for more. And you get to define what more is. It's not what everyone else wants from you. And, I would tell you, you had asked right before you asked that question, what would one more thing be? And you mentioned it, that isolation is actually a serious issue that we're seeing right now with, the way that technology has changed, with the way that we can watch whatever movie we want from home. People are isolating a little bit more, where they don't feel like anyone else is going to understand what they're going through. And I just want to really urge you that you can write a new story for that, but it's going to take some intention. I have a new course that you can check out on the website at bigvoicesrise.com, which is all about writing that new story. And it goes through overcoming overthinking, self-sabotage, and emotional triggers, because that's what keeps us isolated. We get moody. We get, we just want to be by ourselves, which is different than recharging. I'm an introvert. I need to recharge on my own. But at the same time, we've got to make sure that we're doing it for the right reason. And it's not that we're just trying to avoid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, beautiful said. And people can find you. We'll put it right under here so people have it as well. But if you want to just say your website name, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just bigvoicesrise.com. The book's on Amazon. You can find it out there. Got a great blog for you that you can get connection from us every single week in a course. And then, I do some advanced strategic consulting with business owners as well. So if you're interested, just reach out to me. You can find all my contact information there. So it's been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait to see you again
absolutely.
soon. Yay.
I'm so excited.
And thank you for the gift to the world. Yeah, this